The most important game this NBA season so far, Game 7, Western Conference Finals this Saturday night, Spurs and Thunder. I've got free plays on the side, total, player props, everything you know to make money this Game 7 coming up free for you right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on Wager Talk TV. And do we dare call it the NBA championship game? Perhaps. Whoever wins this Game 7 is going to be favorite in the NBA Finals next week when they have home court advantage against the Knicks. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Drop your comments below. Are the Knicks the team to beat, or is this the NBA championship on Saturday night? Well, it's definitely the Western Conference championship because the winner moves on, the loser head home. And so far, the zigzag has held up well in this series. In fact, we've been perfect in games 4, 5, and 6 here in the video on sides and totals for you. So let's see if we can keep it going here in Game 7. First of all, as I've talked about in other Game 7s this playoff season, home teams normally have the edge, and the under normally works as well. But the odds makers are onto this. They definitely lower the total. This total is about, 7 points lower than the Game 6 number already. Talk more about the total in a moment. But the teams in Game 7 win over 70% of the time straight up. In recent years, Game 7 road teams have been more competitive, and the Spurs have been the better team overall in this series this season. In fact, they've won 7 of the 11 head-to-head meetings. 7-11, no Slurpee. But one of those, of course, was without the starters, the regular season game in February, but still 6-4 in the other games. So you can make an argument the Spurs have been the better team in this series. They're only 2 games behind the Thunder in overall record this year. They've played over 90-some games. These are the 2 best teams in the NBA. With that said, though, the bounce-back spot is strong for OKC here for several reasons. First of all, Class A teams off blowout losses always make my short list in the NBA playoffs, and boy, has it worked well in this series so far. In fact, the straight-up loser has gone 4-1 straight up and against the spread in this series. The only time a team lost and then lost again was actually the Spurs in games 2 and 3. That's actually a positive for the Thunder here. But the zigzag has worked really well since. Game 4, the Spurs bounced back with a 21-point win. Game 5, the Thunder bounced back with a 13-point win. Game 6, the Spurs bounced back the other night with a 27-point win. And yes, those were all home teams as well. So home teams off a loss. Perfect 3-0 straight up in ATS, all double-digit wins here the past 3 games. So if you're going to play it, I would lay it with the Thunder. Yes, they're shorthanded, and it is a concern. A.J. Mitchell expected to be out still. Jalen Williams, who did return, played only 10 minutes. He is not expected to play here in Game 7. He had a big Game 1 in which they lost in double overtime. Barely played in Game 2, missed the next 3, and then he barely played in Game 6 the other night. A.J. Mitchell's been out for 3 straight since getting hurt. So I don't think either one of them is going to be here. But the Thunder, as we saw in Game 5 the other night, earlier this week, back on Tuesday, can bounce back and play well at home still without them. This reminds me a lot of that Game 5 spot in which we did have a strong best bet on the Thunder. I gave them to you in the video as well earlier this week on Tuesday. Similar situation here. Whenever we can get one of the best teams in the NBA, perhaps, well, technically the best team, the defending world champs, off a blowout loss at home, Game 7, if you're going to play it, I would lay it with the Thunder. I think they win this game, which means they likely cover the -3.5 as well. As far as the total here, I talked about it. Game 7s have been strong underplays for years. The odds makers, the betting public, have caught on to that angle, and you don't get as much value now because of it. And this total has been dropped quite a bit. It was 219.5 in Game 6. I recommended the under the other night for you in the video on Thursday, and it got there mainly because the Thunder were just terrible offensively. The Spurs, 118 points, did their part, but they held OKC to 91. And keep in mind, the last 2 losses, the Thunder have had 82 and 91 points. Yes, they bounced back with 127 in that home win, but I think the under's a little bit of a hedge here because OKC has been a little more inconsistent offensively. So you play the Thunder, you play the under. I think you probably split it worse because if the Spurs do have a good win here, it's going to probably be OKC struggling offensively, so the under is a little bit of a hedge on the Thunder. The Thunder under hedge, it rhymes. It must be a good thing. But here again, though, you're losing line value, 219.5 in Game 6 the other night. Now it's 212.5. Still, I don't think they've lowered this enough. Keep in mind, just a few games back, after the low-scoring Game 1, which took double overtime just to get up and over, it was at 202 after regulation, 216 after a full overtime. They dropped the Game 2 total from 218.5 down to 213.5. The next 2 games scored over, and then we had just 185 in Game 4, and we had, just 209, I believe? Yeah, 209 in Game 6 the other night. But we can't take much away from Game 6 or really Game 4 because they were both blowout wins by the Spurs at home. It's a different situation here. if I'm looking Thunder, if I'm looking under, that would get me on the Spur team total under 104.5. And it kind of makes sense. If I think Oklahoma City is going to win this game, they're going to have to win it with defense. They're missing two of their better offensive players, two of their best shooting guards in Mitchell and Williams, who are banged up, not expected to play. They're not going to get in a track meet. And really, the pace of play has been pretty slow. There has not been many fast pace, full points, fast break points is what I'm trying to say. I had a little memory block there. Not many fast break points the last couple of games, which tells you the tempo is slowing down. And this is something else I've talked about a lot throughout these playoff videos. Game ones, normally unders with Class A teams. I mentioned in the Game 1 video, and it took double overtime just to get it over. It was a very misleading over there, obviously. Games 2, 3, 4, and 5, I've told you, often are higher scoring. Teams are a little more lax on defense when there's not an elimination. And oh, guess what? Those games went 3-1. So 4-1 to the over in the first 5 games. But then games 6 and 7s, which are always by definition elimination games, I told you this Thursday when I gave you the under in the video, usually the defense comes in. We definitely saw the Spurs play good D. I think OKC now plays good defense on their home court. So Spurs under 104.5. If OKC wins this, I think it's going to have to be a lower scoring game. I'm a little hesitant on the Thunder team total because I like them to win, but I like the game under. And they have been doing over team totals when they win. In fact, there are 4 wins in this series this year. 119, 122, 123, and 127 between those 2 bad offensive games. They still put up 127. If you recall in Game 5, I recommended the team total over here in the video. I'd be kind of neutral on their team total. I think you're better off playing the game under or maybe the Spurs team total under 104.5 in Game 7 on Saturday night. Hey, what are your thoughts? Drop them in the comments below. Side total, player props. We're going to talk about those in a moment. I read the comments. I reply back. Hey, include some analysis if you have time so we can learn and earn and win together here on Wager Talk TV. And I forgot to mention at the top, but if you're liking these free play videos, quick thumbs up like is all I ask. And if you're on your mobile device, click that hype button as well. Always much appreciated. And I will have your Game 1 NBA Finals video in a couple days here. That ends on a Wednesday, but I'm going to get it up early, maybe on Monday even for you. So make sure you click subscribe and you click the bell here on Wager Talk TV so you get an instant alert. You'll know when every one of the NBA Finals games is up for you free here, and also baseball free play videos throughout the week. Click subscribe and click the bell here on Wager Talk TV. All right, let's look at some player props for you. If I'm looking for the Thunder to win this game, then boy, I'm not looking to fade SGA. But the problem is Game 7s are lower scoring normally, much more defensive intensity. And another reason is the officials often let them play. And if you recall the Game 6 video on Thursday in which I gave you the Spurs and the under here, I pointed out I thought the Thunder would not get as many beneficial foul calls on the road as they did at home in game number 5. And boy, was that the case. They have 38 free throw attempts in Game 5. They had 12 in Game 6. I do think they get a few more foul calls at home, but I don't think it'll be anything near like we saw the 70 free throw attempts by the 2 teams in Game 5. These 2 teams combined for only 37, half as many free throw attempts in Game 6, and I don't think that was misleading. Yes, it was a blowout, so there was less fouling in the second half, but the officials are going to let them play here in this one, being a championship Game 7 for the Western Conference Finals. So it does concern you a little bit with SGA because he normally has to get to the line to do his damage. He got to the line 17 times in Game 5, only 3 times in Game 6. It'd be over a pass for me on SGA. I'm kind of neutral there, though, because I'm not in a hurry to take overs in Game 7 with more defense and less scoring. But still, SGA probably has to have a monster game, especially the shorthanded team. The other guy I think needs to step up, and maybe we do look at an over here, is Jarrett McCain. The young guard out of Duke via Philadelphia 76ers, via the Delaware G League, whatever that Delaware team is. Yeah, this guy's bounced around, but he's a great shooter still. He was a first-round draft pick a couple years ago. He's only 22 years old, and it shows at times. Hey, I talked about in the last video, we've been zigzagging with McCain when he had that monster Game 3 on the road when he had 24 points and outscored SGA in that win. I knew it was regression time in Game 4, and boy, did he regress. After going 10 for 21 in Game 3, McCain went just 1 for 10 from the field in Game 4 and 0 for 5 from 3. Had just 4 points that night. But then he bounced back in Game 5, that home win a few nights ago back on Tuesday. 20 points, 7 for 19. And then he kind of regressed again in Game 6. 13 points, only 4 for 11. I think if the Thunder win, he has to step up and start hitting some shots. This guy's almost a 39% shooter from three-point range in his NBA career. Hit over 40% from 3 at Duke. He's a good shooter when he takes good shots. And I think he's going to be one of the X factors here to Game 7. So if I lean Thunder, I'm looking for Jared McCain to probably have an over game here. for us here on Saturday night. McCain is a much more modest price as well. We'll pull up his current numbers here. We're looking at an over-under for McCain, most likely in the 13.5 range. He was 12.5 in the last game. That was with Williams playing some. Now it's 13.5 since Williams and Mitchell are not expected to play. He was 14.5 in games 3 and 4. So I like Jarrett McCain over 13.5 points. He still had 12 or more points in 4 of the last 5 games in this series, and he's going to be a key contributor here. He's going to have to play well if they do win this game 7. So Jarrett McCain over 13.5 would probably be my preferred Thunder player prop. Holmgren is kind of priced around that 13-14 range. He's been getting right around there. I've talked a lot about how he has matchup disadvantages in this series, but they've bumped his point total down several points. So it's kind of priced where it should be. Hartenstein is also up and down. He gets a lot of rebounds at times, sometimes scores. Just too much uncertainty with those guys. So I think Jarrett McCain is probably the best one to attack on the Thunder side. Now, as far as the Spur players, if we're looking Thunder and under, team total under for San Antonio, then I'm looking for some guys to fade. Never in a hurry to fade superstars, but if the Spurs win, it's probably going to be a big game for Wemby. So if we're wrong on that outcome, then we're going to be wrong on the player prop. But if the Spurs struggle, then Wemby probably doesn't get there on his player points. And boy, he's kind of been a zig and a zag as well. He had that monster game 1 a couple weeks ago, the double overtime game, which we played 49 of the 58 minutes, had 41 points, 24 rebounds, and then he followed it up with 21 points, 17 rebounds. And then in the next 3 games, he had only 4 rebounds, 8 rebounds, and 6. And he only had 10 rebounds the other night in 28 minutes in the easy win. He's not getting the rebounds anymore. They've made some changes since he had 41 rebounds in the first 2 games. So Wemby points and rebounds under is probably the best way to attack it. His points have zigzagged as well. 41, 21, 26, then 33, then just 20 in the loss, then 28 in the win. So Wemby points under. He's currently priced around 26.5. Or points and rebounds under 39.5 might be the better way to attack it, as he's had 10 rebounds or less in each of the past 4 games after having 41 in the first 2 games. They've definitely made some adjustments. Hartenstein's done a pretty good job getting boards and boxing out, and I think that'll continue here. So Wemby points and rebounds under would actually be the way I lean, even though he is a superstar player. Other guys that we'll take a look at is the backcourt. Vassell is a guy we'll talk about. Devin Vassell, he had 22 and 20 in games 3 and 4, 2 and 3, and now since he's had just 13, 6, and 12. He was 2 for 11 in game 5, but then he's only taken 7 shot attempts in games number 4 and 6, in which he had 13 and 12 points. Kind of right around his point total overall there. But he's another guy that I think if they don't win the game, he probably does not shoot well. So Devin Vassell under 13.5 would be a lean there. It's always tricky in the backcourt here because now that Fox is back in the lineup, Harper is still playing. I don't think Fox and Harper are fully healthy. They are getting minutes, though. De'Aaron Fox got over 30 minutes in 3 games straight once he returned in game number 3. His shooting's been pretty good, surprisingly. Even though he was hurt, his shooting was really good, except for game 5. He was just 4 for 15 on the road, and then he was just 1 for 9 in game 6 the other night on Thursday in 26 minutes. He's only had 9 and 5 points his last 2 games. He might be limited again. He's not shooting well the last couple after a hot start returning. Castle's another guy who takes a good amount of shot attempts. He's had, I believe he's had 32 shot attempts the last 3 games, and he's had 13, 24, and 17. So maybe Fox under, not Castle, because he has been taking more shots. Dylan Harper's been getting less minutes off the bench now that Fox is back. But he did have a big game 6 the other night, 18 points in 22 minutes. But some of that was when they were playing him with the lead. He had only 5 points, 7 points, and 6 points the 3 prior games when Fox returned to the lineup. Being a game 7 on the road, I don't think Harper's going to see the court as much. Dylan Harper is another guy I think we could look to maybe fade as far as point total. And the odds makers are somewhat onto this because his point total right now is around 9.5. It was as high as 11.5, even 14.5, 13.5 when Fox was out in games 1 and 2. It's been 9.5 the last 3 games. He's had 7 or less in 3 of the last 4 games. He got 15 in or 18 in the last game, as I mentioned, but some of that was in garbage time. Dylan Harper under 9.5 points, I think is worth a look just because I feel like his minutes and shot attempts are going to be limited by Fox and Castle. Hey, there you go. Deep dive into game number 7. It's the biggest game this NBA season so far until we get to the NBA Finals. And by the way, speaking of the NBA Finals, will it go 6 or 7? Are the Knicks for real? Reggie Miller said, as I joked last week, when they were blowing out Cleveland in Game 4, he goes, I don't care who they play. The Knicks are favorite to win the finals. I'm like, well, that might be your opinion, but they're not going to be favorite on paper. In fact, just the other night, before even as Game 5 was being played, I pulled up the look-ahead lines, and I told you the Thunder were 6.5, Knicks were 4.5. Well, they've come down a little bit because now it's going 7 games. This is interesting. FanDuel, where I got those odds, now have it at 5.5 and 3.5. And it kind of makes sense because the teams are being taxed to a full 7 games here. They will have Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, 3 days of rest before a home game against New York next Wednesday. But the look ahead was 6.5 and 4.5. Now it's OKC 5.5, Spurs 3.5 against the Knicks next week. Totals around that 216 range. What are your thoughts? Do you like the Knicks as far as the NBA Finals futures? Thunder plus 130, Spurs plus 230, Knicks 2-1. Also, cheapest ticket I'm seeing for Game 3 next week. The Finals Game 3, the first home game for the Knicks, and when they could be down 0-2, could be up 2-0, never know. $3,000 for a nosebleed seat, $100,000 for a first row front court on the court seat. What would you do with $100,000? I personally would not buy an NBA ticket. I know that much. I'd probably buy some real estate, put it in one of my investment funds. But I don't think I'd be buying a 2-hour courtside seat for a 2-hour game at any sport ever in my life for $100,000. But then again, if you got billions, that'd be what, like $10 to you and me. What are your thoughts on that? How much would you pay to see your favorite team play in the NBA Finals? $1,000 maybe if it's a good enough seat. But yeah, they're going crazy in New York. It'll be an interesting environment. And what are your thoughts on the Finals? Do the Knicks win it? Who do they match up better against? It's going to be tough for both these teams because they have to go full 7, but they will have home court next week on Wednesday for Game 1. Drop your thoughts below. I do read the comments. I reply back. I love the support here on Wager Talk TV. And as always, include some analysis if you have time so we can learn and earn and win together here on the channel. Thumbs up, like, click that hype button on your mobile device, click subscribe, and click the bell for instant alerts so you'll know when those Game 1 videos is posted next week for the finals. Also, my daily baseball free play videos throughout the week. We're so close to 250,000 subscribers here on Wager Talk TV. Make sure you're one of them. Click that bell for instant alerts. And don't forget my daily best bets are available on my page, stevemerrillwagertalk.com. And it's so simple. If I'm using a game, every client gets it. And now I'm giving you a lot of free opinions in these videos every day. Some of them make my best bet card. Most of these are light TV leans only, right? If you're having fun with Game 7, nothing wrong with it, but manage your bankroll responsibly. If you're playing all these opinions, they're light TV leans. 1% of bankroll will be appropriate. But my official best bets are 4% plays, and those are strong. Game 7 best bets and also my daily baseball best bets, which have been red hot this week. Check them out on my page and also get the bonus free play. Here's how the free play works. The last cut that just misses being a best bet, just a bit outside, for my client card goes up as a free play for everybody because I don't want to waste it because it's still a strong opinion. That you might want to treat as a 2% of bankroll because it is truly close to being a 4% best bet. So go get that free play for Saturday. Check out the strong best bets, Steve Merril, wagertalk.com, and of course get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. And while you're there, just 2 days remaining, 2 days in May. May Day, alert, 2 days remaining for the May specials, and there's some good ones that we've had up all month, and I know many of you have taken advantage. And don't forget, you can always re-up because they're stackable. The 3 days for $49, 3-day sampler for $49. Great offer, great entry-level product for all sports, all access. One play is $25, 1 day is $39. Get 3 days for just $49, and they're stackable. You can buy several of them and use them over the next few weeks whenever you want. Or the 30-day all access, normally $299. Nope, it's just $199. Instant $100 discount, and this month we're giving you 10 more days for free. So it's really a 40-day with the $100 discount. That's right, 40 days for just $199. In a couple days, on June 1st, it's going to go to 30 days for $299. Right now, you're getting 40 days for $199, and I believe those are stackable. Get 2 or 3 of them, and you'll be good all summer long. Or if you're ready to take that serious investment approach, if you got your bankroll ready to go, you've got the discipline, the mental mindset that it takes to be a consistent winner, the 1-year all access is a great offer, and right now is the lowest price you'll find all season with an instant $811 discount. Why $811? No, you're not calling this utility for underground digging. Dial 811. No, 811 gets it down to exactly $99 a month. That's about $3 a day, just over $1 a play for every college and pro football, college and pro basketball, and Major League Baseball best bet for the next 365 days and nights. Now, not only is this your last chance this weekend to save big and get it down to like $1 a play with that instant $811 discount, but think about what a great time it is to sign up for 1 year. You can get the complete NBA Finals and then all of next year's NBA regular season through the conference finals, the first 3.5 rounds, basically the playoffs. You can get all of next year's college hoops from start to finish through the national title. All of next year's college and pro football season, start to finish. The next 4 months plus, actually 5 months of baseball, plus the first 2 months next year. It's a great time to start taking a consistent investment approach here at the end of May and lock in on 365 straight days, all access for about $1 a play. Look, it doesn't matter if you get 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. Everyone's getting the same plays I'm personally using every day, my personal best bets, and it's always been that way since I started 30 years ago. This August will be my 30th anniversary. I started August of 1996 as a full-time sports bettor and professional handicapper, and it's always been the same. If I'm using a play, every client gets it. Go get my strong best bets for Saturday. Go get that bonus free play. Don't forget about the bonus free play up there right now. Steve Merril, wagertalk.com, and hey, get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. Like, subscribe, comment below, click the hype button on your mobile device, and follow me on social media at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, Merril, at Steve Merril on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up next.